This is Cory McCarthy, and welcome to a new episode of Fit, Formidable, and Fantastic. That's right, go F yourself. In the last episode, I covered biceps, how you can improve your biceps, build your biceps, make them better for your genetics. Now, as promised, this episode I'm getting into the other two-thirds of your arm, the triceps. Now, as with biceps, you have insertion points in your triceps as well. Now, unlike with the biceps, for instance, where higher will allow for more peak, lower allows for a longer, fuller look, and while you may perceive negativity for one of the other insertions, they both have an extreme benefit for physique. With the triceps, unfortunately, the lower the insertion, the better. It just adds a more aesthetic appeal to the arm. So, really, this episode is going to be geared more towards how to handle higher triceps insertions should you have them. Now, to give you a couple examples, here are examples of a high and a low insertion from famous pros. Now, as you can see, that one example was a really high insertion, and the other example was a really low insertion, which is absolutely more preferable. Raleigh Winklar was the example I used for the lower insertion. The higher insertion, of course, is Marcus Rule, who a lot of people cruelly joke that he doesn't work his triceps, when in fact he does. It's just that, genetically speaking and insertion speaking, it's a lot harder for him to make his triceps stand out the same way it will look like on someone like Raleigh, who has that big, beefy hang to his triceps that sort of encompasses the whole back of the arm. Now, I feel very qualified to assist you in this because I personally have rather high triceps insertions, as you can see in this photograph. Now, if you are someone who is, who has low insertions, well, pretty much do anything with your triceps. Train them as you wish, like, go through all the major movements like close grip bench presses, push downs, dips, overhead extensions, any variety of those and more to build up your triceps, because they're just going to grow. You're naturally going to grow. You just want to evenly grow all three heads. Now, if you're someone like me, or like Marcus Rule, and you have higher insertion points, it's not all lost. Here's what you can do to nail that and try to bring out the illusion. See, bodybuilding and physique, it's all an illusion. You want to try to take any genetic flaws that you may have, and you want to either hide them, or create an illusion that makes them look like they're not a flaw. Arnold, for instance, just as an aside, had a very wide waist, and yet he was a Mr. Olympia 7 times in a row with a 34-inch waist. He was just a master of posing, and he really brought out his deltoid to that wide chest. He just really created that illusion of taper. So, now, on to what you can do for higher triceps insertions. I recommend you slam dips. Slam both bench dips, and you want to work on parallel bar dips. Maybe alternate one each week, or if you do 2 sessions a week, alternate one with one session and one with the other, or have parallels on chest day and bench dips on triceps or arms day. You also want to work on close grip benching and push downs, but especially close grip bench, because you can really overload the triceps with a close grip bench. Now, what these two movements are going to do, the close grip bench, you're really nailing that lateral outer head of the triceps, which will kind of create the illusion of it going down, to the right down to the elbow, and trying to fill that in a little more, because the lateral does attach down there at the elbow. Now, with the dips, you're not only hitting the lateral head and the long head too, especially with parallel bar, but you're also nailing the medial head, which attaches at the elbow on the other side of your triceps. So you're getting that illusion of it really attaching lower, making it look lower than what it is. That's one way you can do it. You also want to throw in some overhead extensions. I would do seated overhead extensions. One of the reasons I recommend those is I feel like the long head is taxed more, and EMG studies show the same thing, that the long head, which is that big bulky muscle in the back there that gives the hang down here when you are in a front double biceps pose. That's taxed in the seated overhead extension quite well. You can also implement lying, incline, decline. They all hit the arm from different angles, and it's good to work all the angles. But as you're going to see at the end of this video here, I have an example routine for you for somebody with high insertions. Now, as I said, if you have low insertions, just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you work the triceps evenly, long head, lateral head, medial head. Hit it all with the major movements. It'll get some work on chest day as well and on deltoid day with overhead pressing. But, you really don't have to do a lot to create much of an illusion because you're just going to get that big beefy hang. But for people like me and others like me with higher insertions, follow this advice that I've just given you. And also, of course, maybe try out the example routine I'm about to show you at the end of this program and see how you go. That's really all I have to say about that. Next week, I'm going to get into something that has been requested. It's going to be the entire topic, not instead of doing just a Q&A on it. I'm actually going to get into how to do cyclical ketogenic dieting for vegans. That's right, vegans. Again, that's cyclical ketogenic, CKD dieting for vegans. A lot of vegans don't think it can be done. And in fact, it can. So a lot of vegans who think they have to rely on high-carb dieting, and like some of these fad diets like 80-10-10, they don't have to. There's actually, you can do ketogenic as well. I'm not going to say it's limited, but I'll be getting to this next week, and I'll even show an example meal plan for someone around the 180 to 200 pound range who wants to lose weight. And I'll get into the ins and outs of that and how I do CKD. So that'll be for next week. If you have anything you'd like to ask me, feel free to fire away at the end of this video. As always, after the example routine, you will see how to contact me via Facebook and via email. Beyond that, if you have anything negative you want to dish at me, feel free to do that too, and I will feel free to respond, as I always fucking say. So, until then, stay fit, stay formidable, and stay fan-fucking-tastic. See you next week.